everybody. I hope you can hear me. Let me know if you can't hear me. Of course, nobody's sitting here right now, so you probably can't tell me whether or not you can hear me. So I'm going to wait, and I'm going to make sure somebody gets on. Who's on? Hey, can you guys hear me good? Just let me know, thumbs up, something, say hey. Just because I hate it when I'm talking and people can't hear me or my phone is interrupting. Thank you. Wonderful. Great. Because I have this thing sitting up, I got it kind of rigged against my incense coffin here in the back. So I want to make sure that it stays up. Because really, I'm a little high right now and I don't want to hold on to anything, to be quite honest. So here we go. All right. Tonight I am going to do a few questions and answers. I'm drinking wine. I just finished my my reading for the evening. So I'm chilling. So y'all got some questions? Everybody, y'all blow up my inbox all day long and it cracks me up all the time. You can ask any of my personal witch friends and hey, Ambrosine. Ambrosine's known me since I became a worker. I've only been a worker a few years. And so it's always kind of surprising to me that people, I understand this and I get this. And I'm not saying this from some type of asshole point of perspective. I get that I am the leader. I understand that. I don't know how the fuck I got here. I wasn't really trying to do all that. I was just trying to get my witch on with my friends. Thank you, Dorian, I need to wash and twist them again. I get it. I try to explain to people who work for me and work with me that I got a reputation. I am, from what I witnessed across the board with Conjure stores, I realized they was slow as hell getting stuff out. But I've learned, thank you. I was feeling myself that day when I was taking those pictures because those black hen feathers had me, feeling a kind of way. And so, I decided to do some selfies, which I take the occasional, but I did a whole fucking full on photo session in my car, letting the sunlight hit me and all that stuff. And that is because I am vain and I am a former professional photographer. So, which is how I met my mentors from the voodoo store. They were my photography mentors first. And so, I don't want to share this ring with y'all. Look at this ring now. This ring, and I wish I can get it, hope I can get it in focus. Amira, and Amira, I just got your message if you're listening. This is blue. It's either blue, I think it's blue. Oh, God. Blue opal? No. Onyx, one of the two. I don't know. No, it's not lapis lazuli. It's even something more out there than that. But and I talked to Amira today. We had a business meeting and I want to get her. She has her own website, but I really want to talk to her about putting some of her jewelry on my website. Because I know, and we're going to talk about this too, is staying in your lane. Damn, there's some shit that just some people shouldn't do. And I've tried some artistic things. I'm a writer. I'm a graphic interface designer, user interface designer, not the same as a graphic designer, user interface. So I help conceptualize how to put together online classes. So I know what looks good and what works good, but sometimes, you just don't have that aptitude. Like I can't dance, but I can also tell somebody else can. See what I'm saying? So, staying in your lane, I was just talking to my client about, thank you. I was just talking to my client. I used to be really hesitant about even coming out of my house without makeup. I've been working at home. My daughter's 15. I've been working at home since she was 7, in my career as well as in my ministry. And, I don't wear makeup that much anymore. Although I believe when you put it on, you better put it on. Okay, don't half-ass anything. And I think that's one of the reasons why people have a hard time with me is because I am very particular about the way I want things done. I have systems for my systems. And I'm sure this shit's probably a bit OCD, but the reality of the matter is it gets things done for me. People that have attention deficit disorder will not stay on task without a good system. So that's one of the things that I have discovered. And I'm really starting to think, I used to be like, even though I've worked for mental health educators for years, that doesn't stop some of the conditioning that we have in our community about mental health, where I was thinking, why are these kids being diagnosed with ADD when they BAD? Okay? But the reality of the matter is the kids' behavior, I think, is solely being influenced by their environment, which then causes these types of mental disorders because that's what they are. And it could be television, it could be video games, whatever it is. So it's like it's gotten to be where ADD is soup du jour. Everybody's got it. Anxiety, everybody's got it, which really stops to speak to the really sad human existence that we are experiencing. I love technology just like everybody else. Okay, I love HGTV. I love the Food Network. I can't watch movies that I used to love. I can't watch horror movies. I can't watch movies where people are hurting or in pain because when you're an empath, it fucks with you. People like us are ideal as social workers, but at the same time, we really shouldn't be. So exactly, we absorb our environment. So for me, constantly talking to people, and most of these people do have problems. Usually people don't come to spiritual workers because life is peachy keen. You know what I'm saying? If everything was going well for them, they would not come and seek the services of a spiritual worker. Now, those would have sense do, because you want to keep things going well. That's the thing, is people they never, like my father used to tell me, you ain't never gonna find a black atheist. And I'm like, what are you talking about? There are black atheists out there. My father was like, because soon as when I was getting in trouble, oh Lord, oh Jesus, I am not a Christian, but I'll be oh Jesus all day long. So it says they come when their shit's fucked up. They come when they're at crossroads. It is very burdensome. It is very hard. But not everybody does this. So that's another thing. If you're a worker, you're a reader, a spiritual leader, a priest or a priestess, understand that you are in an incredibly unique position, and not everybody gets the opportunity to do this. So choose well. Because, every day in my inbox, I get these people. A young woman messaged me last week and told me that she was told the spirit of her head and her feet, and that she might even be a Loa. And I had to sit there for a minute, and I sent her a screenshot of Bill Nye the Science Guy saying, that doesn't make any fucking logic. It doesn't make any sense. Because we've got a lot of people out here doing things they shouldn't. People giving head readings that are not even priests or priestesses. I'm all for if you don't like the rules of a religion. Just like the conversations we've been having earlier about what people call hoodoo or what black folks call throwing roots, okay? If you don't like what is believed to be the common root of the religion, if you don't like the fact that it's ancestor veneration, but you ain't got no ancestors to venerate, that might be the clue that you need to try something else. So for people who are doing what they do outside of the praxis of said religion, I'm all about the free spirit and everything, but don't say you practice in voodoo when you ain't. Don't say you practice in Palo when you ain't. Because you ain't following none of the rules of the religion. Don't say that you practice in Santeria or you follow an Orisha. You don't choose an Orisha. An Orisha chooses you. It doesn't work that way. And so, you have people on one end that have absolute disdain for our religions, yet want to pinch and sell our magic. You got that field of appropriators, and you have that field of appropriators where they really do admire our spirits and our religions and all of that, but I'm not gonna really submit to what it takes to really be in that religion. And that's how you could end up with talking about what was that, a veve for Oshun, when Oshun doesn't have a veve. So, and people were like, well, why do people take it so seriously? Because it's our religion. Just like that guy who he's made this business here, talking about a voodoo seller. Well, I called something a Jesus joint. You wouldn't be happy about that. I went to a church today, and I went to vote. And I'm getting ready to pick out Oh, Lord. I hope you being funny. I went to pick out a shirt to wear. And a lot of my shirts these days, because I make some of them and buy some of them, have to do with witchcraft, the occult, or, Black Lives Matter and whatever. So I ended up putting on an Einstein shirt. I ended up putting on a genius shirt. And it wasn't that I wasn't proud of my religion or my faith, but I realized one thing. I was going into somebody else's church. And I was going to have the respect for that church that church probably doesn't have for my religion. And that's what is called staying in your lane. When you got to be in somebody else's world and you have to be in somebody else's environment, you might want to particularly pay attention to the fact that you are a guest. There's nothing worse than a rude house guest. And so I'm the type of person that if you are a guest in my home and you act a motherfucking fool, guess what? You get put the fuck out. So people who are guests, who we have so graciously and possibly foolishly let into some of the things that we do, have lost their manners. And so the only way you can get someone to remember who you are is to be who you are. Act like you know who you are and not put up with, I don't know about any of y'all. I have a bullshit meter that's about this big. So I know that I'm not going to let anybody walk through the front door that I've paid for, swept, mopped, cleaned, smudged, blessed, protected. You're not going to come through my door and act a fool in my house. You're not going to do it. So think about that as far as anything that you believe in, not just your religion. Anything. Because you know what they say. If you don't take a stand for something, you'll fall for anything. One of the things that I was thinking about is often we get the not all of us, or my parents didn't, I didn't benefit, my grandparents didn't have slaves. See, that shows a real lack of understanding of how the slavery system has benefited white America. Do you know that Aetna Insurance, they insured slaves, among other ones? The guy who owned the Chicago Tribune basically said, over his whole grave, will he ever allow, and I'm going to tell you what he said, a nigga to work at the Tribune. So you know what I did every day when I worked there and walked past his picture? I gave him the finger. I sat in the boardroom that he created and I gave him the finger. I loved every fucking minute of it because I knew that his energy, no matter how fucked up it was still around to witness me doing that. So that's probably the only time I've ever gone to anybody's house and acted a goddamn fool. It was at Tribune Tower in Chicago when I sat in the boardroom. It was like, bitch, I'm here making really good fucking money. So you guys have to understand. And the thing is we really try to give people the benefit of the doubt. I get that. Cat Ironwood and some other people that I've dealt with in my life, when I first got to know them, I found them to be actually fascinating and, have a lot of knowledge. But, as somebody who is a purveyor of trivial facts that probably nobody on the fucking planet really needs to know, after a while, it's not that impressive. When you realize how anybody who picks up a book could have this information. When you realize how knowing something about a particular group of people doesn't make you part of that group of people. Because let me tell you something, and that's another thing, and I don't think that people understand that about black people in this country. White folks, we know you. We've had to live around you every minute of our lives. Most of our media exposure was you. I was the only black girl in every grade in the town that I grew up in Ohio. We know everything there is to know. We're taught your history, not our history. So we know you. So what really is irksome is the people that want to become part of our community, because Black people have always been welcoming in their communities more than any community. If a mixed couple got married, where'd they go? They didn't go to Whiteville, where they put fucking crosses on their yards. They moved into the Black community. Jews were able to infiltrate the Black community and set up businesses there that were then turned over to Middle Easterners. Because through redlining, and that's funny how people who are Middle Eastern and darker than us were able to get loans and we weren't. Okay? So we know y'all. You've been in our communities. You've been in our schools. You are most of our teachers. We are very, very, you don't have to educate us about where you stand in the face of history or how you benefit from white privilege or not. It's just so funny because the people that get offended are the ones with the least amount of information to teach. Because if you knew the truth about things, and it's like, you know, when you see things, you know, and people then want to argue about what is truth, but, you know, history is history. You're not going to change it. People will try to revise it. But the bottom line is, for the most part, it was never true to begin with. So, you know, people don't understand that just because you become familiar with a group of people but see, Black people know this. And that was the one thing that really got in my head. Why is it that we always, it seems to be a surprise when we're telling them, hey, you out your lane. Because we've been used to being told what is in our lane our entire lives. Okay? And the reason why, and they're investing in ignorance because, there's a whole lot of money in the secrets and in the ignorance. And so cognitive dissonance is a bad thing too, because it make you want to fight somebody. You know, when I first found out about certain spiritual truths that I believed and I held true all my life, and things that I denied myself for because somebody else told me that this was not meant for me because I was a Christian and Christians didn't do this, that, and the other. Woo! Look, if you are in a spiritual practice that limits your abilities, limits you, you're in the wrong practice. If you're in a job that limits your abilities, if you're in a relationship that limits you, you're in the wrong fucking place. And that is the problem with people. They don't realize what they could have done. They can maybe see a little bit of what they should have done, but they never live up. When your final card in your reading is the star card reversed, there's a problem because you're not living up to your potential. Unfortunately, for people with racist ideologies, for people that they don't like, to live up to their potential is a direct threat. And that is because they believe that we're going to treat them like they treated us. Well, I guess it depends on who it is, because there are some people that's got some real shit coming to them who have created a lot of havoc and pain for people. And, you know, it doesn't always happen, but it's always really good when you see people get what they deserve. When you can sit up and you could tell folks, I've been telling folks about certain people, places, and things for years. And, you know, I'm the crazy one. I'm the Woody Harrelson that's living in the goddamn mountains up in Colorado. Okay. All right. So, you know, and I don't really like to talk about people. I get all kinds of foolishness in my inbox every day from people about people. And do you know this person, and this person's cheating people and stuff like that. And, you know, I used to make a joke about how root workers didn't need an association. But man, you know, some folks are out here acting without a real code of ethics. It's just like instead of coming out of somebody's vagina, somebody shit you out, because that's how you behave, you know, and I have to deal with the ramifications of the people that you fuck up, and that's not cool, you know. So we've got a lot of things that are at the root of this matter. So somebody give me a high five if you can still hear me. Y'all stop talking. You know, One of them is the human condition, and that inherently we're all pretty fucking lazy. I'm going to tell you right now, if the things that I wanted were handed to me, I'm not going to sit up here and tell you I'd say no. But I do like earning things. I do like studying things. I do like accomplishing things. But if somebody like me even has laziness in them, and I consider myself to be a highly driven individual, imagine what the lazy motherfuckers are like. So, that's the one problem, is that people are lazy. They want the quick fix. In voodoo, we don't find our spirits out until after we're initiated. Don't nobody tell us who the spirit of our head is, and we don't share it with people because it ain't nobody's business. It's just not anybody's business. And so we have lost that ability to really work for things or let things take their course. A lot of people want magic to work overnight for them. And I'm like, you're talking about some herbs and roots and some ancestors who really ain't think about you or your problems, but they might if I ask them to. So you might want to sit down and chill and see how this shit all pans out. And the reality of the matter is, by the time you get about 35 years old, you realize that rushing shit does not work. Even when you know it, you still want to rush it. There's a song that's so dated, and I was listening to it on Pandora, and I think it's Stephanie Mills. You put a little rush on me, and I like to know you better. Ain't nobody saying about that no more. Everybody wants the right away. And I ain't gonna lie, do look good and things are okay. Yeah, you might be able to hit it the first night because I'm not a Christian anymore. I have to worry about going to hell. But for the most part, those things don't work out. Be very serious that that when you finna hit it, you probably gonna quit it. And be honest with yourselves. So that's the second thing. People are lazy. People lie to themselves a whole lot. I know I get up every day. I got a planner. I'm one of those planner junkies. I got stickers. I only got stickers. I've been trying to make my own stickers. I want them to look just a certain way for the pagan community, for planners. A lot of sisters love planners. Makes us feel like it's like a little diary of your life. But planners done got for on real, not just what you had to do today, but your goals of what you're going to do today. The planner community got you doing that, and it's pretty fucking cool because when I do take the time to sit down and go through my planner and look at my week, I can actually hold myself accountable to certain things. But the fact that we have to do that is indicative of we have way too much time on our hands. Because when, I don't care if you was white, black, what eyes, you got up at dawn milking cows and you were in the field and all that shit, you didn't need all those reminders of what you had to do to survive. So that's the third problem. We're a little brain dead. So we're lazy, okay? We want things quick, and we're a little brain dead. And this is the reason why I believe that you don't die. I believe that energy never dies. There are a mentor showed me this video of galaxies that NASA can actually see that we cannot even get to. There are other dimensions, there are other places. And one of my reasons for being a spiritual person is because I need someplace better than this. I like this most of the time, but folks be testing me. And I don't understand that because one would think that as human beings, we just would want to be happy. And not want to mess with nobody else. Just be happy. And I don't understand when you see people on some shit that are always, just trying to start some shit, pick an argument, whatever. Those are miserable people. Those are people who are not happy. And all they're trying to do is get you to join in on their misery. Yeah, my Pisces is short because I'm like, I'm happy. My stepdaughter, she doesn't talk to me, even though I've done a lot for this girl, and I love her to death. But she's got to figure out some things on her own. And she tells my cousin, Belladonna, that she doesn't see me because I'm so negative. Okay. No, I tell you that you fuck it up. I'm telling you how you fuck it up. I'm telling you how not to fuck up. Trying to do some stuff for you that should have been done for me. That I would be grateful if I had that type of supervision. You know, too often, too many of us, too young, just kind of got out on a rope. You know, they could reel in the rope when the street lights came on, but before that, you know, due to work requirements, relationships requirements, that happens, or just not giving a fuck. A lot of us missed guidance. But you find that the people who need it the most are the ones who appreciate it the least. And I told my cousin yesterday, I'm done telling grown ass people that are not paying me to do so what to do. Figure it out. Now, if you come and you ask me, you don't have to pay me, but you have to at least ask me, because otherwise it's not my business. But when people, you know, that's another thing. One of the things that can really keep you honest as a human being is not to stand for fuckery from other people. That will make you want to be incredibly on your game. That's going to make you want to have a decent reputation. Hello, everybody. Yeah, hard heads make a soft behind every day. My grandfather, that was one of the first euphemisms, and then cheese choke 'em asshole. Because it constipates you. My grandfather's two favorite euphemisms. Hard head makes a soft ass, and cheese choke 'em asshole. My grandfather used to swear he was Native American. If he was, it did not show up in my DNA, but he looks like Black Hawk, but I am not Native American. So, Grandpa, that was because your daddy was white and your mama was mixed. Sorry. That's what the DNA is showing anyway. So, but it's just so funny that the lies that we live with and we've become accustomed to. And I think that's why for so long people put up with bullshit from people. And you have to understand that when you have a spiritual leader that you're dealing with who has basically really proven that they are human too and less than desirable, you know, it hurts because you're like, damn, I listened to you. I followed you. I liked you. And you're just an asshole. You know, so here you go, everybody. You know, number one, oh, God. Let me make sure I got enough breath to keep running my mouth with you guys. I don't know. I can't tell. Ain't that something? It doesn't even tell me. But if my phone cuts off, you will know exactly what happened. That means my battery died. So let me get my camera back up. Is it not going to cooperate as I move things? That's what I do. That's that Pisces. That's that OCD, fucking with things. So if I shut off because I can't tell how much battery life I have left. And every time I plug it into power, it makes this really weird, shitty noise. But, you know, first of all, those of you who have had a recent interest or have just started in root working practice. A few years ago when I started this, I had no intention of going into business. I kind of just wanted to hide in the back room of the voodoo store and learn. That's really all I wanted to do. And somehow, sometimes the people who are not really equipped for or desire that type of leadership end up in those places. Some people pick up the mantle and do the best they can, and some people just really fail. So the first thing is these people that we align ourselves with and, you know, have devotion to, even our spiritual mentors, they're human beings too. So, you know, I think that what happens is a lot of times is people stay with people who are a part of their religion or their magical practice because they're concerned about what people will think about them. They're concerned about how they're going to make money. If they're not part of this person's crew, they worry about, I'm lighting my Palo Santo because my nerves. They worry about, this Palo Santo is so burned up because I was burning it from all sides. I do weird things with burning things. And I wanted to see if the Palo Santo smelled differently instead of burning it from the tip like everybody does. If I burned it from the back of the sides, and it does, it's not such a nice smell. It's better to burn it from the tip. And so I guess that's why everybody burns it from the tip. Although I don't think that's why everybody knows to burn it from the tip. This is the type of shit I think about. So if you burn Palo Santo on its sides, at least this particular stick, I was testing a theory, it smells different, and I don't like it as much. I have no idea what I was talking about earlier, because I've gone off on a tangent. Oh, yes. Spiritual leaders as human beings. don't be disappointed when you see these people fucking up, just like these pastors. Jesse Jackson had 2-year-old when they was on the news talking about his baby back about 15 years ago, 20 years ago. I thought they was going to say 21 years old. They were like, and the love child is 21 months. I was like, because that was my pastor's best friend. I never liked him, but I really didn't like him then. People are going to do some really horrendous shit. You gotta know that about people. I have been so disenchanted by friends, family, mentors, lovers. Come on, y'all. If the person you used to fuck disappointed you, what do you think people are going to be like just out here? You know? Now, I'm going to get ready to go to bed in a minute. Remember, though, Lauryn Hill said, and I'll never go to bed. I never go to bed. I'm either reading something y'all writing, and y'all so damn entertaining, I don't get to my books like I should. But if you all have any questions for me, because I've just been prattling on, go ahead and ask them. Every person that likes you is a doormat. They can't speak up for themselves. Yeah, it's people drawn to, that's very interesting. People are drawn to you because you are a strong personality. Things happen to people in life where somebody has convinced them that they're not strong. Somebody has convinced them that they're not worthy. Somebody has convinced them they can't do something. You as parents, that's probably the worst thing you could ever do to your kid is tell them what they can't do. I learned very early on, the less I said can't and no, the better my child behaved. And it's not like without discipline or anything like that, but you have to admit that our parents, either out of fear or out of ignorance or out of necessity, always was telling us we couldn't go do this and we couldn't go do that. And no, we shouldn't do this. And sometimes most of the time it was the church. And we set in people's minds all the stuff they couldn't do. I do online classes. Yes, ma'am. BigLizConjure.com. Click classes. So you have to understand that as parents, and it's not just black parents, more traditional white people too, did whatever they could to set up in your mind what you couldn't do. And that's right. That's why I tell my daughter, I don't understand the meaning of the word. And it makes her mad. But she will go out here and be around these people, and she talks about it all the time. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with them? And that's going to be able to give her the idea that she's at an advantage. My daughter's not, going to school is not her favorite thing. And sometimes I'll let her stay home. She gets straight A's. They be looking for something to counsel her about. Because, she's like, she'll have a therapist appointment because she sees a therapist. Because these kids are exposed to any and every fucking thing, and it makes them mentally ill. People don't understand where all of this is coming from. It's coming from a certain amount of exposure, because make no doubt about it, black folks, it's always been open hunting season on us. This shit that we've seen in the last few years in social media, this ain't nothing new. What's new is we are constantly bombarded with it in a way that we can't even avoid. Think about where you live and think about how many of us could avoid all of that if it was not on social media. But the fact is, for so many people, that's life. That's reality. And people don't understand why people who are brutalized are mentally ill. Yeah, Louis, like I said, I'm talking about black people. I'm talking about Latinos, black, brown, Asian people, their culture instills can with their children. But I think also what it instills is you die if you don't. Try me. I remember the first time in my life I saw a little Asian girl act a fool on her parents. I had never seen it. This is about 20 years ago. I was on an airplane. The little girl was kicking the back of my seat, and her father was telling her to stop. And when I stood up and I turned around, I really did expect this to be a white family. And it was a little Asian girl and her father, and he's sitting there looking lost. And I looked at her and I said, "Stop kicking my seat." And then I looked at him and said, "You should be ashamed of yourself." And I turned around and I sat my black ass down, and she didn't kick my seat again. You know, not everything we learn in our cultures is a bad thing. You know, respecting adults, listening to what they say, having fear of not abuse, but of consequences is the way you're going to raise somebody who's mature. So, and ready for especially this type of spirituality. My daughter will not practice. Why? Because she understands the level of commitment if you're really going to be about this. Even my daughter knew enough when I was talking to her about the person who contacted me thinking that somebody told them that they might be a Lawa. When I said it in front of her, somebody who doesn't even practice but lives in this household, who I am the role model for, when she heard that, she looked at me and she says, "I'm done," and just walked away. Even my kid, who doesn't even practice, just kind of out here doing whatever with her spiritual life, because that's for her to decide. You know, for me to try to force anything on her is akin to the mamas that put your ass in church every day of the week. No thanks. You should come to Spirit because you're called by Spirit and you're not compelled by a human being. So that's another thing. You know, a lot of us feel like we got to join this crowd. So we want quick fixes. We're lazy. I don't know what the other one was. But we really, really want people to like us. And anybody that says that they don't want people to like them is a goddamn lie. What I'm going to say is, I love it when people like me, but I really can give less than a fuck if you don't. Because they call it the fucking 40s for a couple reasons. They call it the fucking and the fuck it 40s for a reason. Well, because your sex drive kicks in when you become 40. You'll fuck anybody and anything if you could. But that's another story for another time. Then it's the fuck it. Because by the time you're 40, either you got it together or you don't. You're taking care of yourself. You're paying your own fucking bills. Ain't nobody telling you what you do. Most women by the age of 40 are divorced or divorcing. At least half of us. So we don't give a fuck what anybody thinks about us. So I don't wear makeup every time I get up anymore and not scared to be seen in public. Fuck a bra. Really. Fuck a bra. So, God bless you, Mike. I'll talk to you later. Like I said, you know, you go through enough things. You have your heart broken enough. You know, I don't like going back to Chicago. For so many reasons. You know, even though it was a beautiful place to spend my teenage years and a lot of my adult years. But one of my friends, you know, she lost her child, and I'm going back for the funeral on Friday. And she told me, you know, Chicago's broken my heart one too many times. And I know that feeling, you know. So when you get to be our age, you just really ain't prone for doing the shit. And like when you're 20s, you will keep going back to the same stupid motherfucker, or you keep dating the same stupid motherfucking types over and over again. You're not going to do that if you're smart by the time you get to your 40s, because you realize they all the same and they ain't worth it. So either you have to go and you have to choose a markedly different human being the next time around, or you need to leave motherfuckers alone till you learned your lesson. It's like, remember American Horror Story Coven or Groundhog Day, where you live in the same fucking cycle over and over again as your punishment. That's punishment. It's a mistake the first time you do it. The next time you did it on purpose. It was intentional. So everybody can make mistakes. And that's what I have to say about people who misspeak in the spiritual community, and then they try to backpedal and explain what they meant. Okay, well, maybe the first time you said something stupid, some folks even gave you a second time. But at this point, no, we're not really trying to hear none of that shit anymore, because we know you're an asshole. And if you want to be an asshole, that's great. But these stories that my grandmother and our grandmothers and little colloquialisms, they used to tell us that you get more flies with honey than with vinegar. Well, I don't like flies. Okay? So I'm not necessarily going to be super sweet to you, but I'm not going to be an asshole to you either. Nobody wants to be around a person like that. You know, after a while, it gets to you, and you have to start making excuses for people. You know, oh God, being married to an asshole is the worst, and you have to make excuses to family and friends about why they don't know how to fucking act. So, I'm not going to do that for people. And as a result, I really don't expect people to do that for me. It really helps keep you honest. Yeah, I don't like flies, so I'm not really going to give you honey, but I'm not going to be vinegar all the fucking time either. And I'm certainly not going to be illogical vinegar. That's like piss. Urine. You got to make some sense when you're talking to me, or we're going to have a problem. And I'm going to ask you questions. If you notice, I don't come on your wall asking you questions, because what you do on your wall is your business. But when you come on my wall, or somebody sends me something that you've publicly posted as some bullshit, I'm going to ask you about it. I ask about it on my wall. I ain't going over to your wall. I ain't coming in your house. You're in my house. And like I explained earlier about people who are guests to spiritual traditions, if you are a self-respecting human being, you don't let nobody walk up in your house and act an ass. And I know there are people who can attest, who have seen me put motherfuckers out of my house. Bye. See ya. You wouldn't want to be you let the door hit you where God splits you, because you don't have to be here. So understand that any religion, spiritual practice, if they have rules, and it's rules of your exclusion or rules of what you have to do, there are some religions that will not let you be gay and be a priest. And as much as I disagree with that, I'm not going to join that religion. Nope. I could have stayed in the Christian church. So don't try to make a religion or a spiritual practice something that it's not. Also, don't expect people who don't follow a particular spiritual practice to agree with what you're saying. Okay? You know, well, that's not right because in my religion, blah, 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 blah. Nobody gives a fuck. That's not their religion. I don't know. That's like saying, okay, you wanted purple, but here is green. So it's not my job to explain. But yeah, this is a general Q&A, but I keep running my mouth because ain't nobody asking me no questions. I've been looking. A good ally within root work. Okay, I'm going to explain this. Oh, this is awesome. Oh, I told you what might happen. You know I'm inebriated. I'll call you afterwards. For real. I'm going to call you. But let me answer this question because it's like the most important question. And if you black people, I am not the spokesperson for all black people. So if you hear the words that are coming out of my mouth, give this woman some answers. Okay? She says, I know it's not your job to explain, so I hope this is okay to ask since it's a general Q&A. How can I be a good ally within root work aside from purchasing from black-owned businesses? Boom. Baby, let me tell you exactly how to do it. Number one, don't ever tell anybody that what you're doing is hoodoo. Because hoodoo, whether I agree with your word or not, is a category in which the magic of African American peoples is practiced and it's ancestrally based. Tell people that you are practicing folk magic. That's the first thing. The second thing is I can teach you how you can go about working to connect with your ancestors. I cannot connect you with your ancestors. In fact, I can't even do that for black people. But what I'm going to tell you is study, get a mentor, find any way you can to connect to the magic of your people. Now, sometimes, as will happen with white people, you're going to run across some ancestors that they ain't so great. You don't have to put them on your altar. You don't have to honor them. Or maybe, and it has been done, but this is a far stretch and a far reach, through ancestor healing, you can actually work with that spirit to change things now. A lot of spirits tend to stick around because they have unfinished business. So if you have an ancestor that's coming to you and maybe they've been fucked, and this has happened with people of all colors in their lives, in their previous lives, there are people who have reconciled with said ancestors and put them to good use in this lifetime. And that helps them and their ashe, and it helps you and yours. So connect with your ancestors. No, you don't have to pick up the slavers and the bigots and the racists. If you know that about them, you don't have to venerate them. But maybe you could find a way, because I do believe people change when they become spirit. But they can't go and fix the shit they left behind on earth. You might actually find some ancestors that are motivated to make a difference. My thing is, you have to connect with your own ancestors. I don't care. Every magical practice I've ever heard of, white, black, red, yellow, I don't care, is ancestrally based. Somehow, some way. So it boggles the mind to hear white people talk about how they connecting with the ancestors, and their ancestors, number one, ain't black, and number two, ain't practice hoodoo to save their lives. Who you working with? You can work with saints. You can work with the spirit of the root. Those are very powerful. But your most powerful magic is going to come from your connection with the people who put you here in the first place. So if you have any other suggestions for Tamara, I would appreciate it. But that's my take on the matter. Everybody can practice magic. But there are cultural things. That's why there are cultural things. That's why as a black woman, when I pick up a bracelet that looks like this, I'm going to culturally connect with this where somebody else might think it's ugly. Okay? This will mean something to me. So people can sit up and say that there's no such thing as black or white and they're colorblind and there's culture. No, there is a difference. Unfortunately, some of it was brought forth by racism, but really it became who you were by your society, where you lived, your culture. And those cultures, I don't care what they are, those good parts, those parts that teach faith, community, that feed you and keep you warm and keep you connected with your divine, those are important to keep. And that's why it's very important to people who are black to keep being the gatekeepers of our religions, because we know the parts of us that only us get because us went through it. And we know that as much as somebody can be an ally and be empathetic to our situation, they can't be sympathetic. You can be empathetic, but you can't be sympathetic because you've never experienced it. White people get mad when you tell them that they have white privilege because they have never experienced a day without it. They don't know what it is. But if you be black for a day, if every white person got to be black for a day, they wouldn't doubt it. That's the thing. And you can't explain that to somebody because then they always accuse you of harping on race. No, I don't harp on race. Race harps on me. So that's what you need to understand. So, but yeah, if you've got your ancestors and they're good people, and I don't care, what they are, what color they are, what kind of people are they? What kind of work are they willing to do with you? Are they going to help to build people up? Because really, that's what we need. If every one of these magicians was really doing the work that they said they were doing to eliminate the world of racism, we wouldn't have any of the issues that we're having right now. Be serious about your work. Work with your ancestors. Follow the constraints of your belief system, not somebody else's. Don't go trying to grab somebody else's magic because you think it's more powerful, because even if it is, it ain't going to be more powerful for you, boo-boo. It's somebody else's. It defies logic. And people don't get that. Simply defies logic. Any other questions, y'all? Any more questions? Hi, Mumbo Yansa. Anybody? Somebody? Because I'm going to bed because I've had a glass of wine. Because this day has been just too much. I got shit to do. Folks just be on ridiculousness. So I guess y'all ain't got nothing else to say, huh? Yeah, Yazzie, I'm going to go and plug my phone in. I'm going to shut everything down here, and I'll plug my phone in, and I'll call you back. So anyways, you all have a lovely evening. And I am hoping that you guys have been hearing me, because I've seen the screen stop a couple times. Oh, I can call you tomorrow. Yay! Okay, no, not yay, but, I'm tired. Small business class. Lord. I don't know. Because unfortunately, we're rolling it very quickly into Black Friday, and I kind of wanted to have it beforehand, but like I said, I always do the most, and I got to be prepared, and I could sit and have a casual conversation with you for a couple of hours about experiences running small business, but I would much rather have a structured curriculum for you that I would charge you for. So, that's something I got to sit down and do, because it's necessary. Because there's too many people out here with great ideas. Like, my girlfriend April designs jewelry. She made this, I'm sure. If she didn't, she picked it up from me somewhere. But she makes really beautiful jewelry. I have so many friends who have so many talents. And I'm just like, man, okay, it's hard running a business. But if you set some things in place to start, it's going to be much easier for you. Some things I do extremely well. I'm that person at the end of the year, right before tax time, I'm doing my spreadsheets of all my expenses. But I will say it only takes me a couple of hours to do, because all of the year I'm doing things to keep my expenses confined to my business and not having it seep over into my personal, which means having a business checking account, which means having a business license, which means paying sales tax. But all of those things require you to keep records, and then having a proper e-commerce solution where you can run reports and things like that. Because a lot of times people in business either do one or two things. They either end up in trouble with the IRS because they don't keep careful records, or they don't keep records at all. And sometimes that causes overspending when it comes to investing into your business. The biggest thing I can tell you guys about opening a small business is I don't see a lot of the money that is quote unquote made, because what I've been doing this whole entire year is taking it and buying more things for the business. But I only do it when we're making money. If I'm not making money, I'm not buying nothing, and that way you can at least sustain the business. And, a lot of people think that they're going to be entrepreneurs, and they jump up, especially in this spiritual work. I wish y'all would stop thinking that this is some type of get rich quick scheme. People that do make good money doing spiritual work hard. It's taxing, but it's not. And that was one of the things I saw. The last thing on my mind was being in business. And then I saw these people, white people, jumping up, opening their Conjure shops. And I'm just like, and they're readers all of a sudden. And I got accused of the same thing, even though I had done like 100 readings before I charged for one. I don't know, I did a lot of them for free as I was training, but I wasn't advertising readings. Because I do believe that there are people here that earn a living from that, and that is not something you should be giving away. If you are doing it for free, if you are learning, that's something you do on the quiet. I see people always announcing, I'm doing free readings tonight. And my mama taught me wasn't nothing good free. Everything costs something. So, if you are going to be doing that, you can read for me. You can read for a lot of people who are experienced readers on the low, as you practice your skill set. But you don't have to be giving yourself away on the internet. That's ridiculous. Some people believe that that's their gift and they shouldn't charge for it. And okay, but them decks cost you some money. You should at least take a love offering. And if you don't want it, you don't need it, donate it. There's homeless people, there's sick people, there's orphans, there's all kind of people that can use that money. But there are some people in this profession that are doing this full time, and they're feeding their families, they're paying their house notes, and, you got to respect that. Nobody should work for free. I got that shit when I was a photographer. I got it now that I'm a worker. I had this one person inbox me asking me about a spell to keep her boyfriend from cheating. Would I do work for her? And I said no. Because if I do something to keep him from cheating, I'll kill him. Because that's the only way you're going to be able to stop a whore from being a whore. You leave a whore and you go get somebody who ain't no whore. But I'm not gonna try to make your whore a faithful man, because in doing so I'll kill him. Because that's not who he is. So understand that. And then she says, oh, okay, but do you work for free? And I'm like, no. Because the first thing was, I told her, I was like, no, I'm not doing the work for you. And it's just like, it wasn't connecting. I was like, no, I'm not doing the work for you. And I'm not doing the work for you because it's not work that's going to last. It's like putting your finger in a dam that has a leak. It's like, remember how when we was kids in the old black and white TV, the knobs fell off, so we would use some pliers. And we might have got 10 more years out of that TV, but it would never right again. Am I lying? I don't think so. So that's what you do when you do spell work on people that aren't doing right by you. You don't want anybody that doesn't love you. You want to do spell work on people that love you, to grow that love. That's where you do the work. But you don't want to do work on people that don't love you. The only work you want to do on people that don't love you is fucking hot foot and bitch bye. Okay? That's the type of work you do on people that don't love you. People that don't love you cheat on you. People that don't love you abuse you. People that don't love you lie to you. People that don't love you will say anything to you. So if you've gotten yourself in one of those situations, understand that spell work should be the least of your concerns. Okay? Any other questions? Because y'all done got me to pour some more wine. And now I'm really not calling tonight. Any other questions? I'm going to sit here for a minute. Because y'all, it's so funny. Y'all do me like this in class as well. And finish root work 101, 102, 103. And I'll be like, any questions? Oh, no. I said, don't inbox me. Do none of y'all. I see all y'all names. It's like romper room. I see Sonia. I see Patrice. I see Louis. I see Jennifer. I see Zanethia. Because, I think the X is silent. Miss Zuber, I see you. I see Dara. I see Coretta. I see Patrice. I see Tamara. Y'all, Tamara already asked a question. I see Santista Brujo Lewis here. I know he ain't got no questions because he's a master. Ain't none of y'all got no questions. Hold on. Somebody's asking. Whoa, let me scroll back down because I had to do that romper room shit on y'all. I do readings. You funny. Go look at my About Me. Go to my website. Okay, next. Oh, okay, you're going to have to spell that out like I'm 5 years old. The X and the Z. See, you about to mess me up. Can I call you Yvonne? Oh, bad. Oh, I'm sorry. They gave us WASP names, and I'm just, I mess up people's names so badly. Shonda, yes. Root work 201. What is your question, hon? Hey, Tasha. Yeah, go feel free to ask another question. No, I can't call you Yvonne. I know I couldn't. So you're going to have to go on Facebook Messenger and leave me, because I talk to you every day. Leave me a message with how to pronounce your name. Well, I'm going to start calling you Miss Zuber. Okay, how do you begin to work with your ancestors? And, okay, divination. I'll talk to you about that in a second. Vicky, it depends on your practice. However, what I can say about ancestor veneration is you don't have to have a practice like an ATR in order to do this. Now, once you join an African traditional religion, they may make you change certain things about your ancestor altar, okay? Excuse me, this wine, I'm telling you, it's got me burping. It's cheap. I won't even tell you what gut I'm drinking tonight. So, the general thought on ancestor altars is a nice clean space that's been cleaned and smudged. It's cleaned with Florida water. You can smudge it with cleansing things. I would not use sage. All spirits don't like sage. With sweet grass or something like that. And then pictures on top of that white cloth of family members that you hold near and dear to you. If you don't know who your ancestors are, you can always take pictures of your homeland. If you know you're German, but you don't know all those people, pictures of Germany or things that are known. My grandmother we were part German. We would collect beard steins. My grandmother had a ton of those, even though she married German. But anyways, then you have a candle. Most people say a white candle and some water. On that altar, you can leave mementos. What do you want, Jezebel? My cat, she's shady. I gotta watch her. She bites. Mementos of things that they loved. Don't ever put pictures of living people on your ancestor altar. Those are the basics. And then how to connect with them. Well, talk to them. The reason why my company is named after my grandmother, Elizabeth Ruth, Big Liz's Conjure, is because when you speak the ancestors' names, you're keeping them alive. You're acknowledging their existence and their presence. So you have to talk to them. So if you need something, or you just need a friend, or you need some advice and you don't feel like you can trust people on the outside, that is when you speak to them. They'll hear you. So start venerating them. You can hide an altar, homie. Vicky, are you the same person that made those amazing candles? I don't know if you're the same person. The plumeria candle. If you're her, I'll understand why you can't have an altar. But you can always have a white cloth and some pictures of your relatives. And you can light a candle for them in their remembrance. You don't have to tell people this is an ancestor altar. You can say this is a special table of, it's like my family graveyard in my house. Whatever. Just like a memorial. They don't have to know it's an altar. Okay, let me scroll back. Somebody was asking about the divination. The divination is not, it's free to find out whether or not you can be a student at 201. That there's no charge for that. That's not a 30-minute divination. That's not an hour divination. That is complimentary if you're interested in the program, and you just have to inbox me or email me to do the divination. So you want to hear from your ancestors more. You got to talk to them. Got to keep talking to them. Let me see what else is here. Okay. Y'all, I'm going to review this on how to pronounce names. So those are the 2 questions that I saw. Let me see what else. Open yourself more to your ancestors. Meditation, sitting and talking with them. But I also find being in nature helps. Spirit's not really confined to these few walls. Magic is science. Energy is science, and that's what your ancestors are. So, anything that puts you closer in touch with the earth, anything that will put you in touch with them. Okay? Also, you can do things, Sonia, like use certain oils, certain incenses that will enable you to have visions and dreams where you may interact with them. You may actually have astral projection, where you go to places where you know you ain't been before. Okay, those are other ways to connect with spirit and the other side. Also, learning a divination method helps you talk with them on a daily basis. A grandparent from an ATR, no. Jasmine, I'm not sure what you mean, but you don't need a grandparent from an ATR to join an ATR. You don't need a grandparent that's in an ATR to practice hoodoo or conjure. You don't. That's not a necessity. At one time, all of the people who did practice our magic were in African traditional religions, but through Christianity and missionaries and everything else that they've done in the name of colonialism, they all but stomped it out. So it's pretty unrealistic that when somebody would come and expect to be initiated, but to be told that they couldn't because their grandparents weren't, or they would want to practice conjure. So that's the question is, where should you keep your altar? I keep my ancestor altar in the center of my home, in my family room, because they're my family. I don't believe in altars in bedrooms. My mama didn't want to see me fuck when she was alive. I just don't think that I want to symbolically have her there in an altar when she's gone. Okay? Yes, and you can just say benevolent ancestors. Yes, and only invite in. Don't just call in any ancestor. A son of mine. Woo! See? She's got a highlight pen. I love highlight for ancestor communication. They'll give you the information you want to know. Sorry, drop this thing again. They wanted me to click on the video. Okay? So let's see what else we got here. A difference between an altar and a memorial? Well, it depends. An altar is weird. You have to understand the origin of the word altar. To change. That's why people confuse altar and altar, which gets on my nerves. Okay? But it becomes more than just a memorial when you are approaching them at that altar and you're asking them to change things for you. That's when it becomes an altar. That's when it becomes a working altar. Now, anything can be a memorial altar or a memorial, but once you start working it literally becomes a working altar. Okay? So if you're adopted, you don't have any info on your ancestors, how do you set up an altar for them? I would set up the altar for the people who adopted me. Honestly, because you don't know anything about them folks that you came from. Unless you do, and you're cool with it. Otherwise, the people who loved you and were the parents of they were your parents from their heart rather than their bodies, I would be more comfortable having on my ancestor altar, which is perfectly fine. People who have married into your family can go on your ancestor altar, at least in my belief system, they can. Yep. Books. I have a whole suggested reading list. Inbox me. Jasmine and Lavender. Hey, Medicine Man, how you doing? And some people read strains of weed. I had a lot of them, but I'm not really an expert on those. But I do have some apps that I can refer you to. Let's see. That was my evening alarm telling me to take my black ass to bed. An ancestor altar is required if you practice hoodoo. Those are the first spirits you should be working with. Folks always want to go straight to the goetic demons, which ain't got shit to do with traditional black folks conjure, but they always want to go and do the most. Start with your ancestors. Start with the row you know. Stay in your lane. Start with your ancestors. Don't start fucking with these spirits you don't know nothing about. Because there are voodoo spirits that I probably will never, ever, ever work with once I'm initiated because it's not my lane. Just because you get initiated into something don't mean that everything is for you. So if you know that, being a non-initiate, you should know ain't everything for you. So stay in your lane. Get yourself an ancestor altar. Get with your ancestors. That is the reason why I had the conversation. I'm trying to scroll and I end up knocking the phone down. That's the reason why we had the conversation today about could white people practice hoodoo, because it's an ancestral practice. A shrine is a more elaborate type of altar. It doesn't necessarily have to be to your ancestors. It can open, it can close. It's like a mini church. Imagine, okay, for example, I'm going to turn the camera around, okay? I'm going to show you guys this crazy ass, possessed ass mirror I have, okay? It's around. So you see this mirror over here, and the light's not that good, but it's very ornate. It's got that antique glass in the back, okay? If you wanted to talk about that versus a Walmart mirror, okay? So imagine this is the shrine, and the Walmart's just your ordinary table altar. Your Walmart mirror. So you understand what I'm saying now? So a shrine, same type of thing for either deities, spirits, or your ancestors, but it is elaborate. That has always been my understanding of a shrine. And a shrine can be small, and a shrine can be big. Got a lot of shrines that people can fully walk into. So there are altars also inside of shrines. That's another thing. So shrine to me, layman's terms, a bit more elaborate, can be any size. Altars are could be any size, but usually they fit within the confines of something, and sometimes those things are shrines. The hard way, all ancestors are not good people. Oh yeah, God, you gotta watch who you invite into your house, and you cannot be afraid to kick folks out. Yes, of course, you ask your ancestors to assist you in your spell work. That's the basis of this practice. Yes. Yep. Our black ancestors are our spiritual pantheon. Okay? An altar without photos. If you wish, that's cool. Okay. Transient life. There's so many cool things about electronics now. People are always poo-pooing electronics when it comes to magic. You can go for a very, very inexpensive amount of money now and get one of those digital picture frames that flips pictures. Okay? You can set those pictures to display a steady picture every day. You can get it to stop and just, or you can just take everything off the card, but that one picture. So, for example, you could have a card for every day of the week, like we have in Voodoo. We have days of the week for our spirits, and you could put that card in, and that would be your picture for your shrine. You can have little cloths that you can buy or make that you can just sit on a table. If you are, say, in a hotel and you can't burn candles, there are electric and LED candles that you can leave lit all day while you're gone. You know, those types of things. And then you can light a candle and properly supervise that candle at night. Because really all you need is a candle and some water and a cloth. That's really it. People, they fancy in America. We're the only people that have garage sales. In other countries are like, wait a minute, you give away your trash. We use the shit till the bricks are beat off of it. Till you can't use it no more. We can't sell it because it's gone. It's used. Okay? That's how people with not a lot of money, if you ever go in the hood and you see what people throw in the trash and you look at their microwave and it's fucked. But you can go out here to the suburbs and, you know, the rich folks that have a nice, clean, spanking, brand new microwave for sale. I saw somebody selling on Facebook a counter depth refrigerator for $1,500 that they paid $3,000 for. You know you have too much motherfucking money when, okay? You don't need all of that to have an altar. And if you go to foreign countries like Haiti, you will find out that's not the way they do things. This is an American thing, and guess what? That's okay too, because we like nice things. You shouldn't break yourself to have a nice altar, but if you have the ways and the means to give your spirits a beautiful place to be, by all means, boo-boo, do so. Because just like us, they like nice things. It's real simple logic. So if you want your spirits to do for you, you got to do for them. That's what we do in Voodoo. We serve. We serve them, they serve us. So, you know, that's my approach. Now, understand that, you know, that's my approach. And not everybody's going to sit online and talk to you and tell you these things, and they may have their own opinion. That's beautiful. But y'all ask me, and that's just what I think about it. I mean, I got anything else? Let me see. Let me scroll back and see if there's, so the transient life, like I said, you can use a digital photo album if you're constantly going. You can put your whole collection of your entire family pictures, and I advise it, people. You're welcome, Trav True. Let me tell you something. Tav True. Sorry about that. As a photographer, I have taken people's last pictures. Didn't even know it. I went to the suburbs and shot my boss's family, and her brother died a month later. And it was their last, and it was a beautiful day. We had a great time. Everybody laughed. I didn't know I was taking that man's last pictures. So your pictures of your families, especially as magical people, are important. Archive them, back them up, make sure you have them saved in multiple locations. And people always talk about the cloud, but the government can tap into your shit anyway. I've had too many hard drives fail on me. I keep it a hard drive. I keep it in a password protected cloud because I don't want to lose those pictures. They're too valuable. And ever since my daughter was born, I've had nothing but a digital camera. So yeah, I'm not trying to lose that stuff. And that way you can take it with you and you can venerate your ancestors on the go. And there are people who make miniature altar boxes. I've seen them on Etsy. I've seen them on other websites. That's not something I'm doing right now. These witch boxes are enough. But you can even have a box like the witch box. I think I'm going to start smelling maybe an extra small witch box. And maybe you could just put a couple things in it, take it with you when you go. It fit nicely in your purse. Because they actually do have some boxes that small, but I just didn't think anybody would want them. But if y'all want them, let me know, and I'll make extra small and just a few things. But really, when you really want to get down to the brass tacks of it, all you got to be is you. All you got to do is have some sunlight and some grass on your feet, and some wind in your hair. All you got to do is go outside. All you got to do is stand where you are. All you got to do is just be. This one man gave this inspirational speech, and he was talking about his wife's funeral, and then his father just came and stood next to him, and the only thing he told him was, just stand. Because if you can keep standing, you'll be all right. So if you don't have any of those things, you gotta get started somewhere. You just have them with you. Because it doesn't matter about all those material things that you have around, to venerate them if they ain't there in the first place. So it's not really going to matter if you have a cloth and a candle and whatever, if you don't have a relationship. And you don't need all of that to have a relationship with your ancestors. All you have to do is be open. Be open to them, understand, and believe. Because if you don't believe, it's going to be real hard for you. It's really hard for me. I'm a cynic. Oh my God, you couldn't have told me that I would be doing something like this. This shit don't make no sense to me. It didn't until it did. And see, I'm hard-headed. My ancestors are too. So they know they had to show me. They had to literally show me what they could do in order for me to be like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm going to do this. And they did. And so when they did, and I did, and then they did, and I did, it worked. And that's the only reason why I can tell you that it works for me. I can't tell you why it works for everybody else. All I know is if I ask and I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and a lot of times, sometimes you're not. You're just human. You make mistakes. You don't light the candles on the certain days. You might have forgot a particular offering. It happens, but don't make it a habit. It takes 21 days to develop a habit. So for 3 weeks, 1 day a week, this wine is like bothering me. 1 day a week, light a candle for your ancestors. Sit and talk with them. Make it a habit. One day, it was funny because I was listening to Jessica Winston talking on this woman's blog. Incidentally, it was a white woman's podcast, and the question of ancestor veneration came up. That you, Shadow? Yeah, that's Shadow. She was working the poles. Not the pole. The poles, okay, y'all? But what was I talking about? Remind me what I was talking about before. Because that just completely threw me, that joke. What was I talking about, y'all? Help me here. Y'all suck. You know that? Shadow, that's you? Yeah. It was so funny. I was talking about something. You know what, Vicky? Sometimes some of your ancestors are not going to be feeling that. I'm going to tell you about that in a minute. But it was funny because when you was coming in, I said, that's Shadow. She been working the poles. And I said, not the pole, the poles. And then I started laughing, and I'm inebriated, so I forgot what I was talking about. You got cheesy bread?
No, it's...
And you just... Sorry. Facebook Live. She just fucking up my whole contraption. I just got that right. I was talking about ancestor veneration. Right, girl. Right. Okay. So she was saying, on the topic of, hey, can white people venerate black people? The reality of the matter is, it's not going to be as strong if it's not your ancestors. I'm not saying that you cannot make a connection, but she was saying you'll have the ashe of the roots or whatever, but your magic's going to be stronger when you're working with your people. And that's what I don't understand because, man, I'm sorry. And I even have a quarter European in me, but I'm going to promise y'all, I don't feel comfortable in European religions. It doesn't resonate for me. And I'm just trying to figure out how white people are so comfortable in ours. I don't know. Maybe it's because we're fabulous. I don't get it. I would want to be where my ancestors are. But if my maybe that's it. Light bulb. Remember, if your ancestors are sons of bitches, you don't want to venerate them. No wonder they want to venerate ours so bad. I don't know what to tell you, though. Because, like I said, don't hate the player, hate the game. That's not the rules. I didn't make them. But I'm comfortable with them. Don't get me wrong. Just because I don't like a racist doesn't mean that I don't understand their mindset. They know the rules are the rules, and some of the rules they don't agree with, but it benefits them, so they do it. So understand how people think. That's a human thing. That's not a black or a white thing. But you know, woo, that's what I'm saying. I thought about that, Autumn. I thought about maybe we shouldn't encourage them to work with their ancestors because their ancestors ain't shit. Maybe we shouldn't. I don't know. It's a difficult thing. It is. But what I do know is this. There are good people everywhere. There are bad people everywhere. And if you are an ally and if you want to work with your ancestors, you'll find good ones. I'm convinced of that. I don't like, white people, y'all don't have to sit up. That's what irritates us so much when people come on here talking about not all of us. Damn it, we know not all of y'all, but there's enough of you motherfuckers out here acting a fool that we're tired of it. We know not every single white person in the world is going to act on their privilege, but we also know that every single white person in the world has privilege. Okay, and in some countries more than others. So, and thanks to, colonialism, they even get it in places where they shouldn't. So, I think that's what it is. Everybody wants to be black till it's time to really be black. You got some white people who are really sympathetic and really love our culture, but unfortunately they love it to the point of disrespect because they cannot stay in their lane and then their feelings are hurt. I get it. But the reality of the matter is it is what it is, and you can be mad at me for using that terminology. Now, what can we do as human beings? We all can work to make sure that racist, stupid, sexist, misogynistic motherfuckers no longer make the laws in our country. But see, some of y'all too good to vote. I was talking to one of my very sister friend woke sisters today on my way to the polls, and I said, and now I'm getting low battery, so now I got to get ready to go. And Shadow knocks down shit. And I was talking to her, I said, I'm about to go participate in the white political process that my ancestors died for, which means I was going to vote. But I understand the game. Play the game. When you play the game, you can change the rules. That's the thing. It's the thing about photography. Photography has the rule of thirds, rules where you can't cut off somebody's hands or parts of their body. But when you become an artist, you learn how to break those rules effectively to get what you want. The same things with magic. There are people that use certain crystals for shit that they are not associated with. Why? Because they know enough about it and they know when something's working and they know it enough to break the rules. But the problem with motherfuckers is, and we're going to go over this again, we lazy. We really are lazy motherfuckers. Number 2, we like things quick, fast, and in a hurry. We love to blame somebody else for our problems, and many of us have been instilled with the can't rather than the can mentality. So you put all that together and you get a bunch of utter fucktitude. So people are like, okay, how can I make it better? Stop fucking up. Really? I mean, it's really that simple. We make a choice every day to do something right, to do something wrong. We make choices. 90% of our life are the choices, it's the ramifications for the choices that we made. And every time you get stuck and mired in a pile of shit, you can actually remember the point where you fucked up, where you made a crucial decision and a decision-making process that was designed to go a certain way, but you decided you were going to do it in the way you saw fit, not the best way, the way you saw fit, because you lazy, you want shit quick, and you really didn't want to do it at all. And what happens? It don't work out, you got to start all over again any fucking way. So, stop fucking up. Make the right decision the first time. Or the best decision that you can. And that's why I tell people, y'all want to be all spiritual and clean and crunchy and shit, but you don't want to learn a divination method. But you can't spiritually connect by reading a book always.
But you get the answers.
You get the answers, or you get the answers to get the answer.
True.
Like for example, tarot books on how to read tarot and do tarot spells and crystals and how they work. You can read that. But unless you do it, like you can know everything about crystal in the world, but if you don't go buy one, you fucked.
That's like me buying exercise videos and watching it.
That's what I said I was going to do, though. I ain't even going to lie to you. I said I'm going to start yoga again, but I'm going to sit here and watch the video first. And I'm going to tell you why. Because you'll be in the middle of some yoga shit. You'll be like, fuck, I can't do that. And then you get up and you quit. So I'm going to try to find some shit that I know I can do. Because yoga is a gradual, patience-producing exercise, but it will make you stronger than motherfucking Paul Bunyan. But it's too easy to get disenchanted in yoga. Like, I know motherfuckers ain't been to yoga in 15 years like me. Well, I went a couple of times in 15 years. And get it, go and run in and take a hot yoga class and end up barfing on the mat. And I ain't going back there no more. The fuck? Stop fucking up. It's real simple. We keep trying. I had this one chick that I let come stay with me. She ended up being a con artist, and she was overweight, and I'm fat, and I'm not a can't mentality. Okay, I'm a size 16. I'm fat. I'm not talking about that dumb thick shit. My titties and my stomach are the same size. I'm not going to talk about thick. I'm fat. So I felt perfectly fucking happy and complete in my soul, and I slept at night even after telling her, don't go for that interview at the spin cycle place. I know you need a motherfucking job, but this is the last motherfucking place you want to go for an interview. That bitch threw up. She couldn't finish the workout. She was mortified, and I was just like, "Babe, I told you not to go. You don't even walk fast. You went, no." And I get the spiritual equivalent with my clients. Chani Lali is on here, and he so generously referred me as a root work instructor. Now, to tell you, he didn't know that 2 days ago I added some of his books on Santeria to my suggested reading list. Why? Because we got to support good people that have good information and people who follow the rules. Oh, fancy that. Lord have mercy. So, but, help you educate yourself. That's what I work with. I work with people that, and I used to make a joke about there are no associations in root work, because that's like white folks always got to have a committee and certificates and certifications. But I'm sorry, y'all. There's a real need. Sayate mentioned an initiatory path to hoodoo, and then also getting with people who can responsibly educate you on ATRs. And if I can't answer it for you because I don't know every damn thing, even about my own path, I could send you to somebody who does, and then that's the benefit. See, y'all gotta stop fucking with these people talking about they can tell you who your Orisha are. This one woman told one of my clients, came to my house for a reading today, and she told me that this woman at one of them gift of light psychic fairs told her she had Obatala energy all around her. We all have Obatala energy all around us. It's like, stop letting these people lie to you. You're not going to get a head reading for $40 either. They're more expensive than that. Why? Because it costs a lot of money to initiate. Folks got to pay for their investment. So, when you just like, people don't say nothing about going to church and dropping money in the collection plate and the pastor getting a salary. Not only does the pastor get a salary, he gets a whole goddamn house. Sometimes my church I used to go to, some of them give him a car. There was one pastor, we loved him so much, and he did not ask for it. A bunch of parishioners got together and bought him a BMW. Because they knew he loved BMWs. He didn't ask them, but they did it. And I ain't got no problem with people buying things out of love for people. Don't let people swindle you out your money that you don't have to give in the first place. Because I love nice things, and I'm going to love the ability to purchase them for myself. But I'm also going to work for them. And because I'm going to work for them, that's why they call this the work, I'm going to get paid. And I'm not going to rip you off. And I'm not going to let anybody, I don't associate with people. Once I find out that you ain't about shit and you're a rip-off artist, I don't fucks with you no more. My bestie Dia is on. Dia will tell you, my block list on Facebook is the size of a small country. There were people who I loved, like brothers and sisters, I don't fuck with anymore because they ain't right in the head. Or they got a serious moral character flaw that is bad for me to be associated with them. And some of these people I still look back on fondly, love them and the good times I've had with them, but at the same time, I can't fucks with you no more. So you're going to see people walking away from Urinwood. And there are some people I'm going to feel some kind of way about. I had a couple people come back up in my inbox after years of being gone. I'd be like, oh, but when Kat was talking all that shit about me, you were more than happy to delete me and to stop talking to me when I had done nothing to you or nothing to anybody at all. Because trust me, I will have those conversations with people when I feel like it. Some days I feel petty. Sometimes I feel like a nut. Sometimes I don't. But understand that if you ever have done me like that and you come back up in my inbox, I usually ask you right away. There's this one person who I was really close friends with, and that person tried to reach out with me on the platform of social justice, and I had to just let her know, you owe me an apology. You called me somebody's black pet. I ain't got that apology yet. We ain't friends. We'll talk, we'll be social, we're civil. I fully agree with many of her stances on social justice, but you owe me an apology. And I just happen, because I ain't a Christian, to love the shit out of myself more than I do anybody else. Okay? I do love my brothers, I love myself, but I love myself more. So if you come at me shitty and you don't apologize, I ain't gotta stay mad at you, but I don't have to fuck with you either. That's the biggie. And people don't get that. Yes, girl. Yes, she called me somebody's black. She called me my mentor's black pet. Because, everybody was convinced that they took me on as a student because I was black to get more customers. And honestly, I was the one who asked, could I learn from them? They were always open with anybody that wanted to know about magic. It was never my intention to work for their store, be a reader, do any of that. But the spirits and the creator had other ideas for me. So this person has tried to speak to me, and I'm cool with that person. I mean, it's like, but we ain't friends. And we ain't going to be ever close to being friends again until you apologize. And why is that? Because I fuck up. I apologize sometimes. When I'm wrong, and sometimes it takes me a while to find out that I'm wrong. So I'll let people have their space, figure out when they're wrong, get back to me. I'll wait. I'll wait. Because I would never talk about anybody like that, and even in a fit of anger. But if I did, I'd apologize to them. So, hi, Devin. How are you? When are you guys coming to visit? What was that? Tiff says you have people from here. One of y'all have people from here. Y'all should come visit. Hi, Sharon. Hi, everybody. So, yeah. So, back to the conversation that we had earlier. There are going to be people who are associated with her and who have been associated with her in the past. And just because somebody was a member of AIR didn't make them a bad person. But I really can applaud the people who have stood up to her and have said, you know what, I'm not going to deal with this anymore. This is not cool. I don't have to be associated with you because of the way you behave. And so that all gets back to staying in your lane. So once again, when you're a guest in somebody's house, like I've been places where other religions are being, how you would call that, worship, venerated. And man, I'm in there quiet as a goddamn church mouse. Because I don't know what's going on. Okay? I'm like, me and my first voodoo fet. Let me see what the hell's going on here. So I don't get cut with one of these machetes. But it's like, so you can't just come run rip shots to somebody's tradition, religion, and then insult the religions that they came out of You know, what kind of sense does that make? It's okay for you to disagree about animal sacrifice. Don't sacrifice animals. But them be the same folks that want to go and drink the blood and eat the body weekly, monthly, daily. That's disgusting. But you want to get mad because I'm killing something that I'm about to eat? Or I got some 100-year-old bones that I have lovingly taken care of that are a family relic, but don't nobody say nothing about Catholics when they be pushing around they saints and bones. I mean, see-through cases. We're talking about real human beings here, y'all. It's see-through cases. But it's okay, right? Because it's Christian. Man, please, look. Y'all got any more questions? Hi, Herbalist Wiz. Anybody got any more questions? Hi, Najari. Oh, you would bring your ass on late. I ain't heard from you in a month of Sundays, Najari. Anybody have any other questions? Because then I can just go to bed if y'all don't have any questions. Because I've been sat up here running my mouth all evening waiting for y'all to ask questions. I did say Q&A, damn it. I know I talk a lot, but you can type. Anybody? Somebody? They've got this thing where you can bring somebody on camera. Does anybody want to come on camera with me? Because this shit looks cool and I've been wanting to try it. Anybody? No? Hello? Does anybody want to come on camera with me? Because I want to... Okay, Vicky. I don't know how... See, you're going to have to leave and come back. Because that's what happens. You gotta get off the Facebook Live and then you gotta come back, because once you join, that's when it says somebody's watching, bring them on camera. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see. Don't leave. Let me see what I can do here. Here we go. Bring Vicky on camera. This is okay. Vicky, hello. I'm inviting you to see how this works. So I'm inviting you, Vicky. Oh, yes. Divination class. Oh, which one? The card playing divination. Well, I advertised that and nobody bet. I figured, hey, folks broke. Okay. So I took it down because it's a 6-week course. But if I can find 3 or 4 people who are interested, I will put the course. Oh, shit.
Hi! Hi!
That made my plumeria candle years ago. You're not.
No.
Okay.
No. I'm new.
That was okay.
But I had that question.
Okay.
I said, my question was, if your ancestors are Christians and you are practicing an ecliptic ATR practice, how that work?
Yes. Okay. I have that too on my altar, because I have an auntie who is a Jesus freak and my mama who was a heathen. I got the whole range. What I'm going to tell you is this. It's awesome when you have Christian relatives, because they got some grimoires, one of them being cross keys. Woo, woo, woo. Now you have to understand that these Catholic priests were some of your most powerful magicians. They were all pagans before they came to the church. So they wrote magical volumes of shit that you can use with their pantheon. So if you go to your relative who was a Christian, use their gods, use their spirits, use their saints. That's one school of thought. And I'm telling you, schools of thought, because everything don't work for everybody. Okay. My school of thought is, because I really tried, because I love cross keys. When somebody reads a section of that, I immediately know which grimoire that is. I'm like, you read cross keys? Because to me, it's a collection of really scary Christian fuck shit. I'm sorry. It is.
Yes, it is.
Want work on somebody with some Christian deities. That, and what is that, Psalm 109 or 108? The one about you ain't gonna never have no grandkids and your wife gonna be a widow and all that shit. Yeah, put some shit like that together. Look,
that one.
The Psalms are not Christian. They're Judaic. They are not Christian. So use them mugs, okay? Because Jews believe in cursing. Can't nobody curse you better than a Jew. They got the hand signals and everything. Jewish folks will go the fuck off on
they
you.
They be begging on you.
Generations before you and after you, and they'll do that shit in Yiddish too. You don't even know what hit you. Look, so you can work from their pantheon. That's the first thing you can do. The second thing you can do is, and this is my school of thought, I believe that spirit transcends all of that.
Right.
I believe that when you die, you get the real deal. And they go, oh shit, I done been good all my life for this. I didn't have to do that. I didn't have to go without dick. I didn't have to go without pussy. Are you serious? They evolve. They learn that the things that we were, this whole human, because religion is science personified.
Right.
It is for man to wrap their minds around scientific phenomena for which they have no explanation for.
Okay.
So when you put science, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
And yeah,
Last question.
People argue that spirits don't see race, but you don't stop who you are or your culture or what you believed in just because you become a spirit, but you have a much larger world view.
Okay, so you just
different.
expand your view. Okay,
Your
now
worldview.
the ATRs and the Orishas and all that or whatever, a lot of them have the Catholicism background. So how can
Yes.
you marry? How can you marry that? How do you get that to make love with each other?
Hey, okay, so let's take a look at my altars. You can't really see them, but there's a lot of Catholic saints there. Now, number one, that may have been the fact that my mentors were white, and white voodoo saints and American, because we're considered white there. We're called Blanco, even black folks understand that.
Okay.
Our practices are very different between the two countries because of our ability to get certain things like that. Voodoo saints and early hoodoo workers used what they had. They didn't go to the occult store and pick shit up off the shelf. So
wasn't no going to the store.
So you don't have to have any of that. In Santeria, the things are, and I believe in Ifa as well, they're made from pots. These additions of all these statues and saints, that's some extra stuff that really is not a traditional part of the religion, from what I understand. Now, in voodoo, that's different because of the intermarrying Catholic Church and the secretism, but they have it backwards. They always want to talk about how we secretize our Loa into their saints. What came first? African spirits came before the Catholic Church. All of the Catholic Church was built on pagan beliefs, so all of those spirits have an associated saint for a reason, but it ain't because we did it. It's because
okay. Thank you.
They their saints with our spirits. Do you see what I'm saying? It's backwards.
Okay.
We didn't go off of them. They evolved from us. So it made perfect sense that when we had to hide what we were doing, we would use the very Christian icons that they used to convert from pagan to Catholic.
Okay. So my next question is, why do they use Mary Magdalene as the like the Jesus that, like the mystical type? Like,
I've never seen Mary Magdalene venerated in an ATR. So
she won't be. But wouldn't she be venerated in a Christian or biblical type of sense?
Well, folks,
maybe because
Magdalene, as far as Christians are concerned,
because I heard Mary Magdalene is she ain't the average saint.
It depends on your faith, but if you're talking about traditional Christian faith,